here with a very special guest all the way in Melbourne, Australia. Quite a lot of great things in his career. Took a hiatus, but he's back. We're here with hip hop and R&B artist Tèbir.
My guy, my guy. Thanks so much for having me, man. Pleasure, pleasure.
How have you been and what's been going on these days?
I've been I've been good, man. I've been good, just keeping myself healthy, mentally, physically. You know, um these days I structure myself a lot more in regards to what my future looks like, understanding what that looks like, figuring out what I need to do and the steps have to take in order to achieve all of those things. So being patient with it, being patient with everything.
Last time we talked, you had just released the Butterfly Effect, your EP.
Crazy.
It was big for you, obviously, which kind of set you into the music scene and put you out there, and it's been going pretty well with that. Let's kind of talk about the Butterfly Effect. Let's talk about the success and pretty much how it's got you to the place that you're at right now.
Yeah. It's insane, man. I think that project right there, even though it was a real small one, like 5 songs only, it was really the start of everything for me. And it just put me in such great places in regards to my music career. Being able to perform here and there, being able to know what it's like to kind of go around almost tour like, I guess, and just the reception and the everything that all the love that I received from it, all the new people I received from it, people just reaching out saying that they mess with your music, people saying that they appreciate you for releasing this joint or whatever. Because it's crazy sometimes the way that people might relate to your art. It's not how you would have thought. Like, I mean, obviously, as an artist, you create and you let everyone interpret the art for themselves. So that's the beauty of it, But it's just been amazing. It's led me to where I am now, which is just understanding what that future looks like for me and exactly where I want to take it. So that was, I guess, engine starter. But then at the same time, I did go on a bit of a hiatus. Then it's all been for a good reason. It's all been for a good reason. It's like for me to understand that in order to release music in months on ends, because a mistake that I did, I don't know why it took me so long to learn it, but a mistake that I continually make is release a joint and then go MIA for a whole year and then release another joint, which doesn't really make sense because no one's attention span is like that. People are gonna keep updated to you if that's the way you work, unless you're Kendrick Lamar. Okay, cool, but for you as an artist to be as consistent as possible. Yeah.
It's speaking of your music, and obviously, you're making a comeback now with everything going on. Just
Yeah.
recently released "Long Live the Chief." The music video just dropped not that long ago. So let's talk about "Long Live the Chief" and what kind of drew you into creating that.
Yeah. Long Live the Chief is it's crazy to think about. This is something that's been in the works for quite a while now as well. So I created the joint with my younger brother. His name's Awak Tèbir, who's also a producer, and also Peter, who is my producer. And us three, we pretty much just bang out tracks day in, day out, constantly. And that was the first track that we worked on. I want to say possibly maybe even started it two years ago or so. So when we created it, it was just like a moment for us that we knew this joint was gonna be special. We sort of knew it from the jump, and being able to create that visuals and everything that came along with it. I managed to drop the track on my birthday. I think when I spoke to you last, I mentioned to you every year I'd always drop on my birthday, you know, and it's just sentimental to me. And Long Live the Chief is just, what it's like for me in living in Australia, being South Sudanese background, and speaking about what it was like from my grandfather's point of view of things, and trying to make as much as I talk about my parents, my grandparents, and whatnot, I try and make it relatable in a digestible, easy way for people to listen to. So I always make sure that's at least vibey. Everyone can at least tune in with it, and everyone can just enjoy it, I guess. Yeah.
Now, when speaking of "Long Live the Chief," you released a couple of other singles. One of my favorite songs is "Daily." off of your Butterfly Effect EP, and the previous song before that is Better Man.
Better Man is an idea that came to me literally like 4 a.m. in the morning. Like like you ever had those moments where you're sleeping and then you get this great idea in your head and you're like, "Oh, I'll write it down when I wake up," or whatever. I try and act on it as much as possible. Like, I force myself to get up and just, as much as I don't want to, and I'd open up my phone or maybe even just start writing it down. So I wrote Better Man as a storyline to begin with before the rap even came along with it. So the whole concept was just pretty much, very cliche, like, not working out in relationship or whatever. But then the way I tried to put it into art form is make it relatable for people in regards to being a better person. So better man is just pretty much just being a better partner, being a better person, and just making those right decisions. And if you watch the video clip, a lot of it is based on decisions. You know, with him cheating on her, that's a decision he had to make. Her with the photo of the child, a decision she has to make. Does she want to keep it? When at the end when he pulls out the gun and does he decide to shoot the person or not? It's like it's all based on decisions and weighing in the better option. So even for her to decide between two men, it's like who's the better man, I guess. So there's a lot of metaphors. Yeah.
Now, is that based on a true story that happened in your life?
Well, kind of, I guess you always feel like you could have done things better in the past. You always feel like if you were to continue being with someone like how you would have turned out to be, maybe it was the best decision for you to not be with that person, or it could be even friendship groups. You might be around the wrong crowd, and for you to be willing enough to walk away from that friendship group just because I don't know, I guess maybe they might not be the best, and they might not have your best interest, and it's for you as a person to sort of figure that out and where you want to go with life to make those decisions. So I guess it's very relatable to any and everyone. Yeah, daily. Daily is a joint I did a while ago. I remember I was at my family's house and came across this beat and immediately I just started writing. For me, production wise, the first few seconds that I hear a beat, it has to really catch me. So daily just talks about just being on the grind constantly, you know, always making sure that you're putting in your 100% to everything that you do. And I guess something special about that joint as well is because I included my mother. And at the intro, there's a song that she has that she wrote for me when I was born. My mother is also an artist. So she wrote me a song that talks about myself growing up to be a chief tribal leader, which just like her father was, and and her father's father. And so it gets passed down. And so she calls me a chief. She calls me Chief Tèbir, and which is where my name comes from. My name is Deng, but as like a chief tribal leader, if I was to still be in Yemen and the name that I carry now, I mean, if I was to still be in South Sudan and the name that I carry now, that's where it stems from. But yeah, with that one, it sort of really took off for me. Like it's crazy the type of like how far I really got as well. For someone, if you know me, and I talk to this about with everyone, I always tell if they ask me who are my favorite artists, there's a certain few people that I name. I name people like Anthony Hamilton. I think he's someone who's super dope, and I'd always mention T Pain in my top five. So for someone like him to hear the joint and give it that much compliments and just to give me like the criticisms and everything like that, just for him to be able to hear it and for him to say that he loves the track was just insane to me, man. Like that was a real like proud moment for me. like it was special. It was real special. And I guess it just made me even hungrier.
Being able to hear one of your songs from an artist like T-Pain and being able to gain that knowledge and be able to know what he feels about that song, how has that helped you in your music career when it comes to just critiquing your work? And as far as when you're writing your material, what are some of the things that inspire you and what are some of the things that you think about when you're coming up with a song?
Yeah. I think for me personally, the way I go about my songwriting process is I always try and catch melodies to begin with, and I let the words come with it later on. So the way that would go about it, I work a lot with my brother and also Iconic Beats. They're super dope. We'd just start off with creating a beat, and this is pretty much what I do now. I'm fortunate enough to work with producers and start things from scratch, where I understand some people they might find a beat on YouTube which is already completed or whatever, which is cool, which is cool. But for me personally, I prefer having each single stem of the track. So with the songwriting process, I let the beat guide me. I let the song guide me. I don't try and force anything. I don't try and force anything, especially even when it comes down to the writing process. I think with the music that I'm going to have coming out a lot more now, it's a lot more, it's a lot more mature. Mature, I want to say it's you can see the growth from it, especially in the wrong songwriting process. The topics that I talk about, there's a lot of things that I really want to get into as well, in regards to talking a bit more about I guess what's going on out here in Melbourne. There's been a lot of issues in regards to knife crimes and just crimes in general. A bit. So those are the few topics I want to jump into a bit more, which is a bit different from my. Well, it's not a bit different, but it's not the same as talking about like a girl or whatever it is. It's like understanding what is it that you want people to feel from it at the end of a video or end of a song. What type of emotion do you want people to walk away from when they listen to your tracks? So I try and have a range of arrays where I can have like a clubbing song, I could have like a sad song, I could have like a just any type of mood song, and I don't try to limit myself, but that comes from me willing to let the production wise of the beat just carry me and not forcing anything. If I hear some sort of if I hear a slow jam song or whatever, I'm not gonna try and do a quick Buster Rhymes or something like that. You know what I mean? Just try and take my time with it. But yeah, not forcing anything, I guess, is a takeaway from this.
Now, you mentioned your songwriting and how you create and whatnot. You talk
Yeah.
about your songwriting, you talk about how you create and whatnot. With the influences that you have in your life, how have they helped you in your career?
And I think I'm surrounded by some of the dopest people ever, man. I'm fortunate enough to say it again, like for me to have someone like Iconic Beats, for me to have someone like Earl, for me to have someone like Moe, for me to have someone like Elaine, for me who's also like a photographer, videographer, and so is Moe, Eric. All these people have shaped me so much. Me being me because it's original. I don't think I'm too influenced. I mean, I guess we're all influenced one way or another. In what we see on a day to day basis. But I guess these people that I hang around with within my circles, and even my close friends, and even my families, all these people shape me into the person that I am, and so everything is just organic. I want to say so. For me to put this image out there with the way that I do with my music or whatever it may be, it's not it's not a perception that I'm putting on. I'm being genuine to who I am as a person. And I guess if people mess with it, then they'll mess with it. And I think a thing that I'm understanding now as well is not feeling like I need to put myself in environments where I might not be accepted. Like for me as an African artist here in Australia, like my core audience is probably going to be African people. So I should cater to them more than trying to cater to like an audience that is indie music or some other stuff. Like it's just understanding people who can relate to me a bit more and just catering to them as well. And not feeling like I need to put myself in other people's spaces and then complaining about why I feel like I don't belong there. Why am I not getting this many attraction or whatever it is? You know what I mean? So it's just knowing the space that you're in. Melbourne here, I'm telling you, we've got bro, we have such amazing talent over here in Melbourne alone. I'm not even talking about Australia. I'm talking about Melbourne alone. And I the way I go about my music and the way I go about my life in regards to like my artistry is I title everything as a tribe. Like a tribe is what builds, in order for you to succeed as people and in order for you to have a strong core group, you need a tribe. You know what I mean? Like there's a whole bunch of few metaphors here and there, but you need people within your corners, people that believe in you, people that trust in you, people that are willing to back you up all the way. And it's not a gang, it's nothing negative, like I title it as a tribe because these are people that I feel like willing to let me, like willing to that can see the potential in me. Yeah, I hope that makes sense, but that's what it is, man. You know how Justin Bieber has like what is he, the Believers or whatever it is? Taylor Swift has the Swifties or whatever. Beyonce has the Beehives or whatever. I've just got a tribe, man. I've got a tribe. And a cool thing about it as well is that if you rearrange the word tribe, it also spells out my name, Tèbir. So that's something that I run with.
Most definitely. And I gotta ask you, you're from Yemen. You're obviously in Melbourne.
South Sudan, South Sudan. Yeah. Yemen is where I was born. Yeah.
What has the transitioning process been like for you, being in Melbourne, Australia?
Yeah. Well, being born in Yemen, I was uh, I was there till I was about maybe 8 years old. I went to South Sudan for like a year when I was maybe making that transition has always been a bit it was comfortable for me because I was always in spaces that I mean, where I grew up, there was no one that looked like me. So being in Yemen, from someone with my skin complexion, like there's no one that looked like me growing up. So it was nothing new to me moving into Australia. And I moved to Australia quite early on as well, where there wasn't a lot of black people around, you know. I've always I'm accustomed to being in different environments and with people not looking like me. So I'm able to adapt. I can adapt pretty quick. But then at the same time, it's also just staying true to me as well. So if that meant like I had to get into a few fights here and there, so be it. But yeah.
Now, being that you're in Melbourne, Australia, if there's one place that you have to take someone to that's fun or enjoyable, what would that place be?
Oh, oh man, there's so many places. Honestly, the nightlife here is insane. Okay. This to be honest, just just I reckon even just the Melbourne CBD at night, just the Melbourne city nightlife. If you just go into the city, it could be on any day. It could even be a Monday here. And if you go explore the city at night, you're gonna see so many different um music sceneries happening here or there. So many different. It's strange. It'll be a Monday, but then you'll see people vibing out over here in the city, and like it's just such a fun place to be. In comparison to like a few other states here in Australia. Like the nightlife here is just it's insane in a good way. You can lose yourself pretty easy. Like if you don't have a grasp on yourself, then you can lose yourself pretty easy. You can go out every single night and do the most. But yeah, no reason for that. Just enjoy it here and there. That's it.
Now, a little bit earlier, you mentioned about Australia and then what's been going on with everything going on with the violence and the scenes and things like that. I know the last time we talked, you mentioned about Australia and mucks going on and things like that in the city of Australia. How has the crime rate been in Australia? Has it been slowing down a little bit or
Now, unfortunately, it's picked up more than anything. A lot more youth these days are wielding knives, a lot more confidence now. You have a lot of kids just running into houses. These kids can be as young as 11, 12 years old, running into houses and stealing things, stealing cars. It's insane to see. Like, yeah, the crime rate is just, I guess we need to find different avenues for a lot of these kids. What is it that we can do to support them a lot more? It could be, just hosting certain, even just having a few particular spaces for them to hang around and just, you know, get into different sorts of avenues with creativity. It could be like a photography, videography, entertainment, or whatever the hell it is that they enjoy to do. Because it seems like a lot of the kids these days, their circle group is just, I don't know, just not the best influences, and no one's willing to be that person and be like, what we're doing is pretty messed up, and obviously it's a lot more complex in the way that I'm explaining it, but hopefully moving forward, we see a lot more changes in a positive way, because we're still at the beginning stages. I feel still like it's unfortunate that we've lost so many young souls to knife crimes and just violence in general here in Australia within the past few years. And I guess just the way that we're portrayed on social media, the way that we're portrayed in the media, African backgrounds, you know, it creates a lot of strong disliking from other minority groups towards African communities, and that can build a lot of tension as well. But I mean, obviously, some people are mature enough to understand this is everything's just being misrepresented in the media. But at the same time, it's just, yeah, it's just a lot going on there, a lot going on there. But I guess for people like me who have some sort of influence in particular community groups to speak up and to act on certain things and just be involved a bit more. It's unfortunate though, because a lot of the times the majority of them aren't going to listen, not until it's someone close, which at this point everyone's pretty much lost someone close to them. It's insane the way that things are going on out here. But hopefully in the future, what I can do more is speak about it in a way that I know how to, which is music, express it in the music way, express it in, videography or little short movie or whatever it may be, just for people to have a different perspective on things.
So, and speaking about Australia, we're gonna shift it now to a positive thing. What has been your enjoyment in music, and when did you realize that you wanted a career in music? Now, I know that we talked previously before, dancing and sports. That was definitely something that you had wanted to pursue at some time, but definitely, what's been your enjoyment in music, and when was that realization?
I enjoy music for the art. I enjoy it because it's a good way for me to express myself, and it gives there's a feeling that you get when you create a song or when you hear something back of yours and you just like, I'm someone who's always been interested in, like, I always want to get better at everything that I do. Even when it came to sporting or whatever it is, like I enjoy the process of things. And music is definitely something that I love the process of, where I see the growth, and that motivates me more than anything. Just knowing that I can always get better and better and better, and just trying to see how far I can take it, just trying to see how far I can go with it. Don't see any plans of stopping anytime. Crazy because I think it started for me in 2018. It started it's it started when when a cousin of mine passed away. This is someone who believed in me a lot. He always saw the potential in me. I was always making music for the fun of it. And so literally like a week after he passed, I released a song, and that was like I wrote two songs. I wrote a song for him, and then I also wrote another song just in general. I didn't want to release the one with him because it was real personal, and I guess didn't want to put it out there into the world yet. And so I released Fragrance, which was my first ever joint that I put out, and what really kicked off my career for me, I guess. And so everything since then has just been a blessing, man. Like for me to continue going, for me to have, being able to, sit down and have chats with you and just be able to perform here and there, for my music to be heard, for people like T-Pain to listen to my music, and all these blessings that's come from me starting off my music. As it started off with him. And so at the same time, I'm so grateful. I'm thankful to God. I'm thankful to my family and everyone. And I always feel like it's him saying, like, I told you so. Every time I release something, every time something does well, or when people reach out or anything like that, it's like a voice in my head that says, like, I told you so. And it feels like it's him saying it. So I think my career kicked off in like 2018, and that's when I realized I wanna do this till forever.
Earlier, we were talking about your hiatus and just needing time to reevaluate things in your life. As far as your music career is concerned, how do you stay on top of things and how do you stay, elevated in your career?
Like I've mentioned, I think just being preparation will go a long way. I've prepared myself, even though I went on a hiatus for a reason, because I wanted to prepare myself for what's to come. I completed hundreds of songs. I completed music videos. I did all of that in the background when people thought that I wasn't doing anything. People were constantly asking me, "How come you don't drop anymore? How come you don't do music anymore?" But it's difficult to explain to people, like, you can't just put something out there, because I've done it before. I've put something out there and I didn't really put in my effort in regards to marketing wise or whatever it is. I just sort of put it out there in the world and sort of hope for the best. But reality is none of it is a fluke. Like, in order for you to do well, you have to really put in the grind behind the scenes. And so that's what I've been doing. I've understood you need to have content prepared, and especially the way people go about things these days. People are quick to lose interest here and there. So if I can engage your interest for like 6 months straight or a year straight, if I can be consistent like that, then I guess things will level up for me. And then I guess I could see myself not being at a 9 to 5 any longer and just continuously pushing things out. But once again, it's also understanding the marketing side of things, and it's a whole different world out there. So yeah, it's a lot to unpack. I'm definitely prepared now. I'm definitely prepared now. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff ready to roll out. So that's what I'm excited about. And Long Live the Chief was just the beginning, I promise.
And I gotta ask you, of course, with that being said, what do you wish you would have known when you first started out in your career in music?
Yeah, I wish I had a mentor, someone who would talk me through it, of what it's like in the with alongside of the music journey. But then at the same time, many people there aren't many people in Australia that were doing it. So it was a bit challenging, but I guess that's something that I wish I knew, is just to be prepared for what's to come next. Always be steps ahead of what people think you are. You know, Releasing a track is cool and everything, but do you know what's to come after that? Do you know what's coming after that? What's coming after that? Like, you have to really prepare yourself well enough and then execute. You can't just chuck something out. And a lot of the times, well, sometimes people can be lucky. You can be the most talented person out there, but if you don't have those little factors of consistency, of being persistent with things, of just a whole bunch of little factors, it'll take you a long way.
And as far as what we can see from you in the near future, what are the future goals? What are the projects that you have coming out? I know you got a lot of stuff that you're gonna be
Yeah,
releasing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man, future goals right now is I'd love to do a show over here in Melbourne and just shut it down. You know, I'd hopefully, if I prepare myself well enough, it might even be at the end of the year. Hopefully, you can come down from Hawaii or something. Who knows? Who knows? But at the end of the year, or maybe even starting next year, I want to continue like from now till then. I want to be consistent as possible and just be in people's faces constantly. I want to be all over social media, understanding here and there. I want to have a whole bunch of TikTok dances here and there. Just go all out with it as much as possible, and being smart about it as well because I'm independent as well. It's not like I have a major label backing me up or anything. So there's a lot of factors I need to weigh in. But once again, I think I'm fortunate enough to be lucky to have such talented people within my corner and people that believe in me, which is most importantly, and also to have the tribe as well.
As far as your upcoming projects,
Yeah,
new music coming out soon, new music video, what
yeah,
do you expect?
yeah. Next month, I'm dropping a joint. I'm dropping a joint. Another one that I worked on with my brother and Iconic Beats, which is called Phil. Phil. So I'm really excited about this one. I feel like, yeah, I'm just real excited about it. I'm real excited about it. Hopefully, it drops on the well, it will. It's gonna drop on the 27th, which is exclusive right now that I'm telling you. I have not told this to anyone. So Phil is going to drop on the 27th of next month.
Tell us about the track, what's it about, a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I don't wanna give away too much. I don't want to give away too much, but just expect dancing. Expect dancing in this one. And you're talking to someone who stepped away from dancing for a few years, but I had to bring it back for this one. I had to go on my sea breezy mode or something, you know.
Now, something you touched on a little bit earlier, you mentioned that you're an independent artist, and I'm sure you know artists that are signed to labels and whatnot. Do you feel there's a difference or a big major change in somebody who's signed to a label and somebody who's independent?
I guess you can sign with labels, but in regards to what you're signing for, because there could be different reasons that you're signing with the label. It could be a distribution thing, it could be a marketing thing, or it could be even event managing. So there's different sorts of reasons for signing. For me personally, I think if I was to sign, it would be in regards to the outreach, because obviously just having a bigger corporation just means that your music is just gonna go further in regards to the ears that it gets to. But the advantage these days is having platforms like social media. It kind of takes away the third person. If you do it correctly, I guess you might not need a label, but then at the same time, I feel like labels could blackball you, like labels could gatekeep. Um, but it just has to make sense in order for you to do well. Don't get it wrong, like all these musicians that are doing exceptionally well, it's because they're signed. So I guess you do need to sign eventually if you want to further your career, because it is a business, and for you as a business to grow, you need to sort of venture out and link with others and create that connection. And if you're an artist and you view yourself as a business, then it's a step that you do have to take for to escalate. If that's what you want to do, if you're completely satisfied with where you are, then I guess you don't need to. Before anything, I want to make sure if any offers or anything, which it has in the past, come my way, I want to make sure that I'm prepared for it. I want to make sure I understand the contract 100% and know what I'm getting myself into. But for me personally, I think the realest thing you could do is having that one that connection with people, that real life connection. And I guess that's an advantage that I have because I feel like there's so many people that I know that believe in me, that believe in me, and I have that connection with them. And yeah, like a good example is when I did a private screening for the track "Long Live the Chief" the day before my birthday, and it was all done within the last minute, but it was all done with like a day or two notice. and for us to really execute that and make it happen, and the fact that so many people showed up, it was just amazing. Like that was a crazy night for me, man. That was a real dope night for me. Yeah, and I'm excited. I'm excited. So shout out to Bittersweet, shout out to Elaine, and shout out to Moe for making it happen. Nah, love, love, man. You're doing great things, man, and you're someone I could tell your hustle is just ridiculous. If I go on your catalog and I see all these people, man, I'm just like, your work ethic is ridiculous, man. So you blessings are coming your way, man. I don't know what it is, but you've got big blessings coming your way. I know that, and you've been blessed already as well, man. I hope you see that.
I do definitely, man. Take it one day at a time, but we're here with hip hop and R&B artist Tèbir. Just want to say I appreciate your time. Wish you all the best, brother.
My guy, all love, bro, all love. Thank you so much.